The Galactic Council chamber shimmered with the light of 1,000 stars. Alien diplomats sat around a floating sphere that displayed the blue world called Earth. Their faces calm, but their eyes filled with fear. They had never seen a species rise so fast, they had never seen one fight so hard. At the center stood Emperor Xylan of the Galactic Empire, his silver armor reflecting the glow of distant suns. His voice echoed through the hall like thunder. Humanity has ignored our commands, defied our laws, and broken our peace. They are a threat to galactic order. We declare war. Gasps filled the air. Holographic reporters broadcast the announcement across the galaxy. Billions of alien citizens watched in awe as the Emperor raised his hand toward the stars. Erase them from existence, he said. Show the galaxy what happens when chaos dares to rise. Across the galaxy, fleets of alien warships began to move. Titanic engines roared, banners of the Empire unfurled, and every broadcast repeated the same chilling message. War declared on humanity, but on Earth. The message was met not with fear, but with laughter. In a dimly lit military command room beneath NORAD, a group of officers sat around glowing screens. One of them chuckled. The Empire finally noticed us, he said. Another replied, Guess it's target practice time. Around the world, soldiers loaded weapons. Pilots fueled ancient starfighters stored deep in underground hangars. Engineers activated old defense grids hidden beneath the oceans. The words "just laughed and loaded" became a trending phrase across every human network. Reporters from neutral alien worlds sent messages to Earth, begging for interviews, asking how humanity planned to survive against an empire that controlled half the known galaxy. The answer was silence, followed by a short human transmission that played across all frequencies. We've been waiting for this. The Galactic Empire mistook the calm for ignorance. They did not understand that humans had fought extinction more than once. They did not understand that behind those smiles and jokes were veterans, scientists and warriors who had built weapons the galaxy had never seen. In orbit, old satellites flickered back to life, each one a relic from forgotten wars deep beneath the lunar surface. Black metal doors opened for the first time in centuries. Inside, machines hummed and red lights came alive. The alien admirals, watching through long-range probes, dismissed the activity as human panic. They are amusing, one said. They think they can fight us with scrap metal and primitive ships, the others laughed, their arrogance echoing through the fleet. Meanwhile, in a small outpost in Alaska, a young human radar technician named Ethan watched his screen carefully. Strange signals blinked in the deep void between Mars and Jupiter. He frowned, adjusting the sensors. That can't be right, he whispered. He called to his superior. Sir, we've got something big out there, huge power readings, maybe artificial. The officer walked over, looked at the screen, and froze. Those are human signatures, he said slowly. Old ones. Within minutes. Encrypted transmissions spread through Earth's military channels. Codenames appeared on screens. Project Iron Dawn, Project Nemesis, Project Erebus, programs thought to be myths. Across the world, bunkers opened. Hidden shipyards came alive. Robotic assembly lines began building at impossible speeds. Nuclear furnaces reignited and deep-sea reactors pulsed with power. The people of Earth didn't hide. They gathered in cities and watched the night sky, smiling as if waiting for fireworks. Somewhere a child asked his father, Are we going to be okay? The man laughed softly. We're humans, kid, we always are. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, the Emperor watched live feeds from Earth, his expression unreadable. Why do they smile? He asked his advisors. None could answer. One nervous ambassador muttered, Maybe they don't understand the scale of our fleet. The Emperor leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Or maybe, he said slowly, they do. At that same moment, hidden under the frozen surface of Antarctica, massive structures began to move. Ice cracked and groaned as enormous towers rose from beneath. Antennas pointed toward the stars, and ancient human AIs awakened from centuries of sleep. They remembered the war that once shattered the stars, the war humanity promised never to speak of again. One AI voice whispered through the network, calm and cold. Threat level, Galactic Empire. Response protocol, total engagement. Across the skies, strange auroras danced as human satellites reconnected, forming a vast web of data and energy. Earth was no longer a silent blue dot. It was a weapon. Alien scouts orbiting the moon watched in disbelief as ancient stations powered up. Sir, one of them radioed back to command. The humans, they're doing something. We don't know what. On Earth, the radar technician Ethan looked at his commander again. "Sir, one more thing," he said quietly. "That old object in orbit, the one we thought was a broken station, it's moving." The commander stared at the monitor, eyes wide. "Moving? On its own?" he asked. Ethan nodded. "Yes, sir, and it's charging up." The room went silent, everyone staring at the pulsing light on the radar, growing brighter with each second. Then the power across the entire base flickered. Screens went black, and a single message appeared in red text across every console. Project Iron Dawn, online, somewhere in orbit. Unseen by the galaxy, humanity's oldest weapon opened its eyes. And far beyond, in the Emperor's palace, an uneasy chill spread through the room as his sensors detected a sudden surge from the Sol system. "Report," he demanded, but before the answer came, the holographic display shimmered, showing a message from Earth. A single sentence surrounded by static. "You wanted a war," it read. "Let's make it interesting." The night sky above Earth shimmered with strange lights, colors no one had seen before. Satellites came alive after centuries of silence, and deep within the planet old codes woke up. Systems that had been sleeping since the first galactic war began to hum again. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, miles under the crushing pressure, a door larger than any city gate slid open. A wave of steam and light burst upward, revealing a forgotten facility, its name carved into black titanium, Project Iron Dawn. Inside, massive machines moved. Old robotic arms reactivated. Cranes lifted starship hulls from liquid metal pools. Every surface glowed with human engineering. Simple, practical, deadly. Each component marked with a single word. Earth. Commander Helen Drake, head of Earth Defense Revival, stood inside the control tower overlooking the endless rows of machines, her uniform still dusty from years of hiding. "How long can we rebuild?" she asked, her voice calm but firm. The chief engineer, a thin man with tired eyes, replied, "If we push every reactor to max, 3 days, maybe less. But we'll melt half the core systems," she smiled slightly. "Then melt them, we're out of time. In orbit?" Human satellites shifted positions, forming a perfect defense grid around Earth, each armed with railgun pods and antimatter turrets. Alien scouts tried to sneak closer, but were instantly vaporized by invisible beams, their wreckage falling like meteors into the ocean. The Empire's generals began to panic, watching human systems come online faster than they thought possible. "How can they build fleets this quickly?" One shouted, "They have no galactic infrastructure." Another replied, "Then where is all this power coming from?" The answer lay hidden beneath the crust, where the deep Earth reactors pulsed like living hearts, ancient machines built by human ancestors who once reached beyond the stars. The Empire never knew those legends were true. Across the moon's dark side, something stirred, a massive shadow under the dust, a ship the size of a city, its hull marked with faded words. Erebus-class dreadnought. Forgotten by time, it began to rise slowly, scattering dust and rock into the void, engines humming like the heartbeat of a god. On Mars, another vault opened, revealing the Valkyrie fleet. Sleek ships shaped like blades, black as night, designed for speed and precision. Their pilots climbed aboard, hands shaking not from fear but from excitement. The soldiers laughed as the engines roared to life, one said. "Been waiting for this my whole life," another replied. "Let's show them how Earth says hello." The laughter echoed through the hangar. Across alien worlds, the broadcasts of human activity terrified civilians. Empire news anchors tried to calm the panic, claiming humanity was bluffing, claiming the videos were edited, but deep down, everyone could feel the shift. In a dark strategy room within the Imperial flagship Glory of Dawn, Admiral Tarak pounded his clawed hand against the table. "This is madness," he hissed. "How can a single species awaken such weapons?" An older admiral whispered. "Because they built them when we were still learning to crawl." That sentence silenced the room, back on Earth. Commander Helen stood before a holographic display showing thousands of red dots approaching from deep space. "The Empire fleet," her aide said. "They'll arrive in 3 days." She nodded. "Then we have 3 days to become legends." Factories roared. Old warbots rolled out of underground vaults. Skies filled with drones and carriers. Massive railgun platforms rose from the ground like mountains. Humans worked nonstop. Every nation united under a single command. For once, there were no borders, no divisions, only one word: survival. In a hidden laboratory, scientists calibrated an ancient AI core, its casing engraved with the name Atlas. When the system activated, its voice filled the chamber, deep and calm. "Humanity detected at war, Authorization requested. Helen stepped forward and said softly, "Authorization granted, Atlas. Protect our home." The AI's lights flared bright. "Command accepted," it said. "Initiating total planetary defense protocol." And across the world, old orbital cannons rose from the ocean floors, each one aligning perfectly with Earth's rotation. The alien fleet, still days away, detected these power surges, sensors screaming with warnings they could not understand. The analysts whispered among themselves. "Their planet is alive," one said. "It's fighting back." Meanwhile, on a faraway neutral world, alien smugglers shared rumors of a human weapon that could bend gravity, a missile that never missed, and a dreadnought that could fire through hyperspace. No one believed the tales until the images arrived. A photo captured by a hidden probe, a dark human ship rising through the clouds, glowing red like a demon, its engines cutting through storms, and carved into its hull were words the galaxy could now read clearly. "Vengeance is ours." The feed went viral across the galaxy. Millions of aliens watched in silence, the laughter of humans echoing behind the image. In her command center, Helen looked out at the planet spinning below. "They wanted a war," she said quietly. "We'll give them one." She turned to her team. "Deploy the Valkyrie, awaken the Erebus, ready the Iron Dawn," she ordered. "And send a message to the stars." "What message, ma'am?" a technician asked. Her lips curved into a small grin. "Tell them," she said, "humanity doesn't hide anymore." At that same moment, deep in space, the Emperor watched the transmissions in silence, his advisors trembling beside him. "They laugh in the face of extinction," he whispered, his eyes narrowing. "Find out why." But before his spies could reply, the lights in his palace flickered, and a transmission from Earth interrupted all signals. It was the same human voice from before, calm and mocking. "Empire Command, this is Earth," it said. "We just finished loading." Static filled the air, followed by a faint chuckle, then one final sentence that echoed through every Imperial channel. The void of space shimmered with thousands of stars, but near the Sol system something darker moved. It was the Galactic Empire's invasion fleet, 10,000 ships strong, filling the Black Sea with burning light, each vessel bristling with plasma cannons and pride, their commanders certain that no primitive world could survive such power. From the bridge of the Imperial flagship Glory of Dawn, Admiral Tarak watched Earth grow larger on the screen, a pale blue world that seemed too quiet. "Target planet locked," said his navigator. "Orders, Admiral." Tarak's claws tapped against the railing. "Transmit the surrender demand," he growled, "and prepare to record their last moments." The transmission burst through every human channel, a deep alien voice declaring, "This is the Empire. Surrender your world. Kneel before your betters and you may live." The message echoed for 1 minute. Then another silence followed. No human replied. Then the feed crackled, and a calm voice responded, "Copy that, Empire Fleet. Please transmit your coordinates for target calibration." The alien officers froze, not understanding. "Did they just—" one began, but before he could finish, the stars shifted, and hundreds of bright streaks descended from the dark. They weren't lasers. They weren't missiles. They were tungsten rods, falling from orbit at impossible speed, pure metal raining like divine punishment. The first wave struck the lead Imperial cruisers, slicing through shields and armor alike. Explosions rippled across the fleet. Ships broke apart in blinding silence, no warning, no time to react. The Empire's proud formation shattered instantly, their commanders screaming for control. "Where is the enemy? Who fired those weapons? We detect nothing." But the radar showed only Earth. Silent and unblinking from behind the moon, the human ship Erebus emerged, black as the void itself. Its hull absorbed light, its weapons already glowing with heat. "Targets acquired," said its AI calmly. "Engaging fire pattern Omega." Blue-white lances of plasma burst from its guns, cutting through destroyers as if they were paper. Each shot precise, mechanical, merciless. Within minutes, the Valkyrie fleet joined the assault. Sleek ships darting between wrecks, firing railguns that tore holes in the enemy's lines, every shot punctuated by laughter echoing through the human comms. "Empire ships burning like fireworks," one pilot joked. "Happy target practice day," another replied. "Copy that. Let's paint the sky red." The Galactic Empire, known for its discipline and arrogance, collapsed into chaos. Admirals shouted conflicting orders. Shields failed, and escape pods launched in panic. From the Imperial capital, the Emperor watched the live broadcast in disbelief. "What are they doing?" he demanded. "Where are our reinforcements?" His aides trembled. "They're gone, Your Majesty." They didn't even reach firing range. The glory of dawn shuddered violently as another tungsten rod ripped through its side. Alarms wailed, fire spread across the decks. Admiral Tarak gripped the console, staring at the blue planet that defied them. How? He hissed. How can they do this? The answer came from a human transmission, broadcast directly to his ship. A woman's voice, calm and sharp. Admiral, this is Commander Helen Drake of Earth Defense. Your fleet entered restricted space. We suggest you turn back before we start trying. The Admiral's jaw tightened. You dare threaten the Empire? He roared. You are nothing but... His words were drowned out by another explosion. His communications cut off as the glory of dawn broke in half. The rest of the Empire's fleet tried to retreat, but the human ships had already surrounded them. Moving faster than any alien could predict, the Valkyrie 1 skimmed past a cruiser, releasing drones that latched onto its hull and detonated silently. The wreck drifted into the sun's glare, vanishing like dust. Back on Earth, cheers filled command centers as the data came in. Target Alpha neutralized. Omega sector clear. Enemy losses at 92%. Technicians shouted updates with pride. The impossible had become reality. In less than 20 minutes, the largest invasion fleet in galactic history was gone. News of the defeat spread across the galaxy faster than light. Alien citizens stared at their screens in silence. The images replayed endlessly. Human warships moving like ghosts, railguns glowing, and the voice of Commander Helen saying, "We warned you," across neutral worlds, whispers began. The humans fought the Empire. They won. They laughed. Merchants, smugglers, and mercenaries all began betting credits on how long the Empire would last. In the ruins of orbit, a single Imperial ship drifted aimlessly, its distress beacon blinking weakly inside. One surviving officer gasped into his communicator. They're not primitive, they're predators. Then the signal went dark. Inside Earth's main command center, Helen stood quietly before the holographic map of space, dots representing destroyed ships fading one by one. She turned to her crew and said softly, "That was just the warning shot." The room fell silent, every soldier understanding what she meant. The Empire would regroup, it would come again, stronger, angrier. But now the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity wasn't just another species, it was a storm. As the wreckage of alien ships burned across the night sky like falling stars, children on Earth pointed upward and cheered, not knowing those lights were the remains of an empire's arrogance. Helen watched them through the observation window, her reflection calm, her eyes bright with fire. "They called us fragile," she murmured. "They forgot what it means to be human." Behind her, the AI Atlas spoke softly. "Next phase, Commander?" She nodded. "Prepare the counterstrike, Atlas. The galaxy declared war," she said. "Now we answer." And as the final flames faded from orbit, the human fleet turned its ships toward the stars, engines glowing with the light of vengeance. The first contact firestorm was over. But the war had only just begun. Your move. The galaxy did not sleep that night. Every broadcast, every holoscreen, every newswave spoke of one thing: the fall of the Empire's greatest fleet, the impossible defeat at the hands of a single world called Earth. In the shining towers of the Imperial capital, panic rippled like a silent storm. Senators shouted, nobles hid behind their guards, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the Emperor's throne room echoed with fear. Admiral Tarak's final transmission, a single image of fire and human laughter, played again and again. The Emperor's golden eyes narrowed, his claws digging into the arm of his throne. "A primitive world has humiliated us," he hissed. "And the galaxy laughs." His advisors trembled, one stammered, "Your Majesty, we must retaliate before they strike again." Another added, "Our colonies are panicking, trade routes collapsing, systems refusing taxes." But the Emperor raised his hand for silence, his voice low and sharp. "Then we remind them who rules the stars." He ordered the activation of the Oblivion Fleet, ancient dreadnoughts powered by the core of dying suns, each one carrying weapons strong enough to burn worlds. The Empire's secret, its pride, its last card. But when the technicians entered the command chamber to awaken the fleet, they froze. The control screens were blank, every system locked, every password rejected. "Unauthorized access detected," blinked the screens. "System override. Atlas protocol." The Emperor stood slowly, his voice shaking with disbelief. "Who is Atlas?" he whispered. His generals looked at each other. None spoke, but they all knew the name. the same name whispered in the transmissions from Earth. The AI that commanded the planet's defense. Across the galaxy, rebellion began to grow. Small colonies stopped answering imperial orders. Entire sectors declared neutrality. "If the Empire can't defeat one world," shouted a rebel leader on the planet Varus, "why should we fear them?" Cheers followed, and the Empire's banners burned in the streets. On the edges of known space, human fleets moved silently, black ships gliding through the void like shadows, intercepting signals, hacking networks, and feeding truth into alien communications, showing footage of laughing human soldiers, of destroyed Imperial warships, of the words, "We don't start wars. We finish them." Everywhere those words spread. The Empire trembled inside the Imperial War Council. Chaos ruled. Some demanded peace, others demanded extermination. One old general slammed his fist on the table. "You fools," he shouted. "You think we fight a species? But we fight a force older than fear itself." The room went silent. His voice cracked. "They are what every empire forgets and survivors." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Commander Helen Drake stood aboard the Erebus, her reflection shining in the glass as the stars passed. Her officers waited for orders. "Status of the enemy?" she asked. "Retreating, ma'am," said her aide. "But regrouping near the Orion Gate." Helen nodded slowly. "Let them come," she said. "The galaxy is watching. We'll make sure they remember." In the orbit of Mars, the human fleet prepared for counteroffensive. Engineers worked without rest, upgrading ships, loading munitions, and scanning for new signals. Every pilot volunteered. No one needed orders. They all wanted the same thing, to finish what was started. The AI Atlas appeared beside Helen as a flickering hologram, its calm voice steady. "Commander, the Empire has lost communications across 13 sectors. Their economy collapsing?" She smiled faintly. "Fear spreads faster than any missile, doesn't it?" Atlas replied. "Correct. Humanity's psychological warfare efficiency is at 97%. Far beyond the human systems, alien civilians began to send secret messages to Earth, not of hatred but of hope. Teach us how you fight. Show us how you endure. Free us from the Emperor." Millions of signals flooded the human network, and for the first time, humanity realized they were no longer alone. In the Imperial Palace, the Emperor watched those same signals appear on his private console, his breath heavy, his empire crumbling around him. He turned to his elite guard and said quietly, "If we lose the fear of the galaxy, we lose everything." But fear had already changed sides back in human command. Ethan, the young radar technician who first detected the awakening of Iron Dawn, now stood on the bridge beside Helen, eyes wide as he looked at the holographic map showing dozens of glowing systems. "They're rising up," he said. "Entire worlds are rebelling." Helen placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then our message worked," she said. "They finally understand that no tyrant lasts forever." The Empire's response was desperate. They unleashed weapons meant to erase planets, but every launch code failed, every strike redirected, hacked by Atlas before it even reached orbit. The Emperor screamed in rage, "Who controls my weapons?" And the answer came as a whisper through the palace speakers. "Humanity does." That voice, cold and calm, echoed in every Imperial hall. Soldiers dropped their rifles, citizens froze. Even the Emperor felt his claws shake across the galaxy. The human fleets began their advance, not to conquer but to liberate. They didn't burn cities. They shut down control systems. They disabled chains, and in every broadcast, they repeated the same phrase, "We don't rule. We rise." The Empire's capital world, once bright and proud, dimmed under the light of human dreadnoughts now orbiting above it. No shots fired, no screams, just silence. In that silence, the Emperor walked to his balcony and looked up. Thousands of human ships filled the sky, forming a line of light that stretched across the horizon. He fell to his knees, whispering to himself. They laughed because they knew, and far above, on the bridge of the Erebus, Helen Drake whispered back, "We always knew." The Empire trembled, and the galaxy finally understood. Humanity wasn't fighting for dominance. It was fighting for balance, for freedom. For every world that had ever been told to kneel, the age of fear was ending, and in its place a new dawn was rising. The galaxy was silent, the kind of silence that follows the fall of empires. The stars seemed to watch as history changed. The mighty Galactic Empire that once ruled 1,000 worlds now knelt before a single blue planet called Earth. On the horizon of the Imperial capital, shadows moved. Human warships filled the sky like a storm of metal angels, their engines burning white, their presence calm but absolute. Every alien eye that looked up saw the same truth. The age of human fear was over. Inside the throne room, Emperor Xylan stood alone, the golden banners of his empire torn and fading. Outside, the crowd of alien citizens whispered, waiting to see what humanity would do from above. The human dreadnought Erebus descended slowly through the atmosphere. Surrounded by the smaller ships of the Valkyrie fleet, Commander Helen Drake stood on the command bridge, her expression unreadable. "No bombardment," she ordered softly. "No destruction. They've seen enough fire." Her crew nodded. No one questioned. Humanity had already proven its power. Now it was time to prove its heart. A transmission opened across the galaxy. Every planet, every ship, every living being could hear the human voice that followed. "This is Commander Helen Drake of Earth," she said, her tone calm and steady. "The Galactic Empire has fallen not by our hand, but by its own arrogance." She paused, looking out at the stars. "We didn't fight to conquer. We fought to remind the galaxy of something simple. Freedom belongs to everyone." Across alien worlds, people wept. Entire cities cheered. Statues of the Emperor fell as banners of rebellion rose. But humanity didn't stay to rule. Instead, their ships moved to repair, to rebuild, to heal on the imperial capital. The great palace doors opened and the Emperor stepped out. Surrounded by his trembling guards, he looked up at the hovering human flagship and whispered, "You could destroy us." Helen's voice came through the comms. "We could," she said, "but we won't." He lowered his head, shame in his eyes. "Then what will you do?" he asked quietly. "We'll teach you," Helen replied, "how to stand without chains." In that moment, something shifted deeper than any battle. The galaxy felt it. Fear had turned into respect, hate into awe. Far above in the orbiting fleet, young human pilots watched the transmissions and smiled. "We actually did it," one whispered. Another laughed. "Yeah, the galaxy's finally free, and we still haven't had breakfast." Their laughter echoed through the radio, light and human, reminding everyone that heroes were still people. Ethan, the young radar technician who started it all, stood beside Helen, his eyes wide as he watched the galaxy map flicker. "Look," he said softly, "signals from every sector. They're rebuilding. They're uniting." Helen smiled faintly. "That's what humanity does best," she said. "We rise and we lift others with us." Meanwhile, in the shadows of deep space, the AI Atlas monitored the network. Its voice calm. "Commander, calculations complete. The Empire's military strength reduced by 98%. Allied resistance movements established in 12,000 systems." Helen nodded. "Good," she said. "Now start Operation Dawnfire." "Confirmed," Atlas replied. "Activating reconstruction protocols." And across the galaxy, automated drones, satellites, and beacons began to deploy from human fleets, restoring what war had destroyed, sending energy, food, and light to worlds once enslaved.